Oh, look at it now. The sun is shining. Looks so beautiful, doesn't it? Looks just gorgeous out there.
Yes. Looks like beach weather.
7 degrees, single digits is where we're at to start things off. Although it's going to warm up pretty quickly to 30, 43 tomorrow, 50 by Thursday, and then 20s for the weekend again with a chance of snow. What the hell is going on? County Executive Anthony Picente on the line right now. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. A lot of, I don't know if your ears have been ringing, but a lot of talk about everything going on. Hospital, nanotechnology. And we originally wanted you to come out and talk about the airport. So can we start with that?
The airport.
So here's what I'm seeing a story out there that says that the governor might be doing similar to a MV500, might be doing a competition for improvement to airports. Do you know anything about that? Is there something that is in the works for us here?
Yeah, that was announced in the State of the State message and was included in the budget. And yeah, the only issue I have is right now is it's very hard to compete with larger airports, and I'd hope that we're going to segue some of it off, or at least separate it off, and for some smaller airports, because it makes it very hard for us to compete with a Syracuse, Albany, a LaGuardia, Rochester, etc. But nonetheless, and the other point is it's $200 million. I believe it's $40 million, 5 airports, $40 million each. But, in looking at that, $40 million for us can go a lot longer and a lot farther than $40 million can for those larger airports.
Yeah.
So I look at our opportunity there as a possibility to show, greater potential, in our use of $40 million rather than or like a LaGuardia or even Syracuse or Albany.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I thought it was just for upstate airports, or is it the entire state?
But I use LaGuardia just as an aside in terms of it's a large commercial airport.
Yeah.
But regardless, Albany, Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo. I mean, we're a general aviation airport right now. We'd like to become more of a commercial airport, and this kind of money could really help us get there.
Okay, so you're saying that we will be competing for
Absolutely.
that?
Absolutely.
Okay, on the issue of, and by the way, I spent some time out at the airport and time with the projects that are going out there with the drones and it is the transformation out there is unbelievably impressive.
It really is. It really has taken shape, and it's something that we'd like more people to see because, look, everybody asks, what's up at the airport because of that lack of commercial aviation that doesn't bring a lot of people to it. So it's one of those questions that what's up there, but when you start seeing what we've done and how we're making that transformation and how we can be a commercial airport, but right now we're one of the best general aviation airports in that state. It's really coming together.
I might be an odd person, I guess. It depends on.
I've never heard that.
Depends on what other people think, I guess. In general, however, I have, for various vacations, we certainly have traveled to Albany. We've traveled to Syracuse, but beyond that, for the discount airlines, I have traveled to Elmira and flown out of Elmira. And I have flown out of Niagara Falls, 2 airports you never would think about flying out of, but it's $66 a flight. I drove there and flew out of there. And
hopefully Griffiths will be there. We're in the midst. We're in the middle of a real down and in depth. I said that in my state of the county as well. That this is the year we're going to determine it, and we are reaching out like we never before. We're really doing the real connection in the industry to see if commercial can work here, and we're going to have an answer to that hopefully by the middle of this year, maybe mid to late summer.
Right.
But it's something that I think we can fit into to have a niche in that realm in the future. So.
Okay, obviously a lot of people talking about the hospital.
Oh,
and
here we go again.
Well, we did hear from Jim Brock this morning, and I feel like some of the questions that he's asking have been answered. And I did ask him, in fairness, I said, is there anything that Tony Picente or anybody could, the hospital, anybody could say to you that would convince you that it should go downtown. And he said, it would be a very tough challenge to convince him of that. But it's basically done, right?
Well, I mean, look, everybody, it's funny. I read the paper this morning and the articles and heard the stories, and everybody, well, we support it, but what are you doing? Well, look, we went through this for the last 6 months. I mentioned that as well, that, we argued amongst ourselves for the last 6 months on this project, trying to, between convincing people or at least looking at the bigger picture of what this meant for the region and what this means for healthcare. And everybody's for a new hospital, but everybody wants to put it in a different place. The decision was, then everybody kept saying, make a decision. So now they made a decision. Everybody says, well, why did you make that decision? And why can't we see the others? So, we're back at, it's crazy to go through this. We're not, we're not making a Western here. We're building a hospital.
Yeah.
And the point of it is, all of these things, are getting answered and will in the appropriate time, but in the same breath, this is a $600 million plus project. It's not something that is sketched on the back of a napkin and can be given. But I think everybody's been talking about where in general it's going to go. Now the next steps are the overall scoping of that area, the layout of it. A lot of it was put on hold for the last couple of months because of a blip with the budget, and we were aware of that. But I think, look, we're moving forward, and the public will be involved to each point, but to turn around and say right now, well, we want to know every single thing of every aspect of it. And the $600 million projects, it's going to take 5 years. You want an answer in 5 minutes?
Yeah.
I think it's unrealistic, and I think the questions are getting answered. The process is going to move forward. And the first and foremost is the businesses that are involved, that have to be notified and how that's going to take place. But that's got to be a part of the design and where everything goes. So I think, I don't want us to get back in the soup that we were in months ago, in which the hospital becomes a question, and that's part of the reason why it got held up in the budget.
Right.
So let's not make the same mistakes twice. Let's do this the right way, and we will. We are.
Next week, I'm told there's going to be a press conference within the next 2 weeks. There'll be a press conference.
Right.
I'm assuming will a lot of answers will come out of that.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure, but there again, will all of them and will every single one be answered? Of course not, because there is a detailed process. Appraisals have to be done on those properties down there. The scoping has to be done. The overall design has to start being put together. So, but all in all, I think the answers that the people will be looking for in general will come out. Now, whether they're satisfied with them, I hope they will, but. We've been down that road before too, so we'll see what happens.
Well, listen, you have contracts signed up at the Nano up at SUNY, and the question still remains: is it real? So I think until it all happens and it's done, I'm not sure.
There's about $1 billion in this state budget for this community in terms of economic development and healthcare, and all wrapped into one. And it's hard to say that will it come. The ground is being moved, as we said. GE is embarking upon they're putting their plan together for their equipment, what they need, up at Quad C. So look, things like I say, things do take time, and we've waited. Look, we waited 30 years for a rebirth of this region. I think we can wait a little bit more in the next a few months to get these pieces in place, and I think that I know that we will, and people will be pleased when it does.
And I hate to say this, but we're talking about Jim Brock was talking about the rebirth of downtown and the reinvestment in Utica. When you really look at it, though, Tony, how much of this happens without the infusion, the cash infusion from the state?
Not much of it at all, or the promise of. And the building of nanotech in terms of the areas in Bag Square and the lost apartments and the pieces that all come together are really a part of that that partnership and that general infusion of money, and we can't do it without them. And why I would keep going back to why isn't the hospital looked at as a part of that rebirth in terms of what takes place? I just look at other communities that have hospitals in their downtowns and that are 10 times and more bigger than us.
Yeah.
And some that are even around the size that can flourish. I mean, and the point of it is okay. So why isn't there other interest there right now? It's because that you need an anchor. You need something to draw, and you need something that is an operation that people can work. I mean, look, right now all you have is county offices and city offices. You have a great listing of small businesses that are emerging, but if you want hundreds and if you want 1,000 people downtown, you got to have something bigger than just government offices that close at the end of the day.
I think I asked you the last time we talked, and 6 years is a long time. But let's fast forward 6 years down the road. I can't wait to see what it's going to look like. That's my.
I can't either. I think I still think that all of the planning, all of the pieces that we put together. I think that you're going to see a change really in 3 to 4 years, just because of what's taking place up in Marcy, and as this development shakes out in Utica, and you're going to see it sooner. But at the end of it, for the next generation and beyond, I mean, this community can be. What it should have been, for many years, because of the location in the state, because of the great quality of life it has, it can really be an area that
listen,
can grow.
In 6 years, the arterial project is done.
Mm-hmm.
Nano is up and running.
Right.
The hospital is downtown. It's going to be potentially transformational. And, oh, by the way, Cuomo will be running for president. So there you go.
Well, we'll wait for that.
Right.
In 6 years, I don't know where I'll be, but I hope I'll just be enjoying all of this and looking at it.
County Executive Anthony Picente, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Thank you, as always.
I'm sorry, Sue, you had something to pop in there? Go ahead, Sue.
Yeah, good morning. I've been to some of the neighborhood meetings regarding the hospital, and everybody is so concerned about what's going to happen to these vacant buildings, especially St. Elizabeth. I didn't hear any concern about the Notre Dame Junior High School or elementary school, Lady of Lourdes, former Lady of Lourdes. Notre Dame is going to be building another elementary school at their Notre Dame campus. And that school's probably going to be closed down. Why isn't anybody concerned what the diocese is going to be doing about their building when it becomes empty?
Yeah, we have no control over what their decisions are, right?
Exactly. Just like you really don't have much control over what's going on with the hospital.
Yeah.
That's a private organization, and it is what it is. And people should just recognize that sometimes change is for the better.
2022, it's going to be very interesting, Sue. I got to tell you, it's going to be interesting to see what it all looks like.
I hope I'm here to enjoy it.
Me too. I guess that's the big question for us now. All right, Sue, thank you. Hold tight. A free money question of the day will come back with a chance for you to win $100, $200, or $300 in cash from the Hobica Law Firm. And Julianne Thompson is an expert on politics. This contested convention, the Republican convention, looks like it's going to be potentially contested. Actually, looks pretty likely that's going to happen. And how could Wisconsin be the key in all of this? That primary is today. We're going to talk to her coming up next at WIBX.